Thank you, Jens. Thank you for the introduction. I know Jens for quite a while. I joined SAP 6 years and 25 days ago. That's a story for over a coffee, why I know those exact amount of days. And I've worked with Jens in the UK, with Jens in China. And let me reiterate, I think SAP is very, very lucky to have him as their CEO. So let me reiterate that. So my name is Peter Pluim. Again, I won't force anybody to be able to pronounce that properly, only Dutch people can. I'm the president of SAP Enterprise Cloud Services. That is me putting the SAP complexity on you. In short, I'm responsible for delivering RISE to our 7,500 customers around the world, and I'm the one that doesn't sleep, as Thomas said, so you all can sleep. It is interesting, this year, before we headed off to Sapphire, Christian forced everybody that went to Sapphire to do the full certification on our new strategy. Business AI, BDC, Business Suite, and everything around it. And it was hard. Trust me, I failed the first 2 times, because it wasn't even like a certification you could do online with some multiple choice. No, we had to empty our desks. Some oversight came in, and you had to show your entire office that there was no tablets there, no phones there, and they were very, very, very strict and not very sympathetic. So sorry for everybody who goes through that, because it wasn't a very nice experience. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you so where Thomas gave you the cliff notes, the summary, which will not be good enough to have you pass, I will give you the more detailed insight into what the strategy means, and there will be a test at the end and no coffee for those who don't pass it. But let me go back. Our mission is, and it's a bit shorter than Jens's at SAP, is help the world run better and improve people's lives. That is truly at the heart of what we do. And there was a nice article in Forbes this week, I think it was Forbes with Christian, how we transformed the company and the cloud transformation. But the one thing that I think they clearly missed was it wasn't, when we started this journey when Christian became CEO in 2019, it wasn't about a transformation to cloud. That was a side effect. It was a transformation as SAP to deliver more value. And if you think about what I'm going to present here, there's a lot of technology there, a lot of buzzwords, a lot of things that we are putting into place to help our customers. But at the core, it is to help people get more value out of their hard-earned dollars in investing in SAP. Because I always make the joke, we're not cheap. We're not. But by the same token, if you buy, to go to BMW, if you buy a i7 and you get the value of an X1, you're going to be upset. If you buy an X1 and you get the value of an i7, you're very, very, very happy. And that's where our aim is. For many, many years, in our ecosystem, whether it was with IBM, with Garrick, we sold our software and then let SIs implement it at will, which led to highly customized environments that were neither agile nor resilient. And that was a problem. Because if you have 42,000 developers at SAP delivering value every day, and you're not capturing that because you're holding an iPhone 1 while we deliver an iPhone 16, and you're paying for that iPhone 16, that gap is going to get ever wider. So what Christian decided in 2019 is that we need to take, together with our partners, a more vested interest in the outcomes that we delivered. It's like what the panel said, BMW, Adobe, Northrop, outcomes matter. I mean, I love technology. For me, it's only about technology, but ultimately, outcome matters. My wife will tell you that. I can muck about with my network system at home. She doesn't care as long as it works. Which was a problem the other day, but let's not go into that. Now, one of the sectors, and I'm just going to highlight this shortly because it gives an idea of the accountability we are willing to take on our shoulders as SAP today, is in the healthcare system. In the healthcare system, nothing matters more than reliability. And we do a lot in healthcare, also in Germany. One of my favorite partners is Fresenius. Fresenius, we help deliver 100,000 babies. Pfizer. Pfizer, we have delivered from the start of the pandemic. They've become a customer, and we've delivered endless vaccines, not only for COVID, but also 14 more vaccines. We've done that. And that requires precision, reliability, and perfect data. But even iHealth in the US, they deliver medication that helps 4.5 million babies, 4.5 million babies fight problems with their guts. That is how we improve lives. But it also puts an accountability on our shoulders and on our partners, because we do this together. For Fresenius, we did with Capgemini, and we basically accelerated the entire transformation to S4 and the migration to RISE in 18 months, 2 months earlier than expected, like Adobe. And the migration was invisible to users. Pfizer is a thing we did very closely together with S&P. We migrated 85 terabytes of data from ECC systems, lift and shift, over to RISE, again with minimal downtime. HCL and iHealth moving to S4. It is only with dedicated partners that understand our strategy, that are willing to support that strategy and migrate and transform with us, that deliver the value to customers. And don't underestimate, 84% of total commerce runs through an SAP system. 6.1 trillion. And with RISE, today, we support 44% of the world's GDP. So I really don't sleep at night, trust me on that one. That is 160,000 system IDs that we operate for all of our customers, and 99.996% availability over the last 6 years. Now, I agree, if you're part of the 0.004%, you don't care about the 99.96%, but thank God it's not always the same customers that get hit by that 0.004%. What is critical is that SAP, as SAP, we have taken that commitment on ourselves. And we understand that we're not managing PRD1, but we're managing real world processes. And that is at the heart of the transformation of SAP over the last 6 years. As I said though, and Thomas has left, but Thomas has only got 15,000 people if you include premium engagement. We cannot compete with the likes of Garrick with his 50,000 people, S&P, HCL, Accenture, who I think run in the millions by now, to deliver the outcomes. We do that together with our partners like S&P, who's very reliable, by the way, to get this done. And our North Star needs to be and is supported by that. We make it easier for customers as well to recognize those partners. If you look at RISE, we have 14 RISE with SAP validated partners. And ultimately, we will help oversee where needed. Thomas's team has recently introduced an enterprise architect for all of our core customers that will help oversee that. But as a customer in this audience, I think it's just as important to understand that you need to align what SAP is doing with what your SI or other technology partner is doing, and have those aligned and bring them at the table. I can tell you, a very large beverage company in the UK, because this comes up in my head now, Garrick, it's not even on my slides. The transformation is going extremely well. Why? Because we have IBM at the table, we have us at the table, we have the customer at the table, and we talk every day. You need to create that ecosystem for yourself and force all the partners to work together. And we will help you as SAP make that happen, also through better and better certification of our partners. Because just like I had to do the certification, RISE with SAP validated partners, we force all of our partners to go through that certification as well, and there's a minimum threshold required every year to reach in order to keep the certification. Now here you see just some of our partners on the screen. And a lot of our partners are customers as well. And we have different levels of partnership. Some of them are services partners, SIs, but we also have technology partners. We have partners that are both. One of the key things we've been working on in the last 18 months and giving me a lot of headaches is enabling IBM Cloud as a fourth hyperscaler, and at the same time, they're also a premium supplier, and at the same time, they're also an SI. And of course, a very, very valued customer who's gone on their own S4 transformation journey. So partnerships with over 30,000 partners around the world at different levels are critical. And partners, of course, can make a lot of money out of us as resellers as well. The world is changing. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But all we can say is that uncertainty reigns. Now, we cannot take away uncertainty as SAP. I'd love to, but even we are limited in what we can do. But we can help manage it through resilience, agility, and reliability. Because agility and resilience are great, but ultimately you also need a reliable partner. Somebody who's there also through the bad times. I'm going to Korea next week. I have a lot of customer meetings lined up, and one of the customers is not going to be happy with me. I can tell you that much. But then it's also stepping at the forefront and taking accountability. What I miss often in a lot of these presentations, we talk about agility and resilience, but accountability is just as important. It's like a marriage, through good and through bad times. And we will be there to help you. And that's why understanding what we do in our North Star architecture, and Thomas gave you the very quick summary of that, is very important. That's why it's important to attend these conferences, to grab SAP and your partner by the jacket and pull them in and get it explained to you. Success stories like we're doing at BMW, which I can tell you is a lot of hard work by Frederica and her team every day. Or that we do at Adobe, or even NVIDIA that you saw on the screen. And NVIDIA, talk about speed, we went from ECC to S4 and migrated from on-prem to RISE in 43 days. And I can tell you, if you fail there, because NVIDIA is completely dependent on when they deliver, like a day late cost them millions, it was a very critical project. And we take on that accountability. Now, for years, the technology landscape was simple. You could choose SAP, you could choose Oracle, or other partners out there. But the advanced technology has made it much more complex. And everybody loves point products. You send out an RFP for this point product. You send out an RFP for this point product. And get back to that later on the business suite. But it has created an entire spaghetti of data being copied, replicated, etc. I would argue that most customers still only have actuals on January X because they call them actuals on January X, and 30 seconds later there are no more actuals. And if you go back to our founders, what is it? Peter Meyer was there, what was it? 54 years ago, the whole aim was to provide real-time insight into how your business was doing. And that needs to come back. Because how can you react to oil prices going like this, and then next day when Iran has fired 6 rockets, which is exactly the amount of rockets they fired, etc., on Qatar, oil prices drop again. How can you react to that if your systems are ancient? I can give you a million examples, but one of our largest customers on the planet, the largest SAP estate on the planet at ExxonMobil with 3,543 ECC system IDs, they analyzed their 1.4 million custom code objects. 90% is never used. Ever. 90%. It's been created over the last 50 years, but every upgrade, they lug it along, they test for it, and they do regression testing, integration testing, functional testing, and it's not even touched. Now, they were very brave. They're going to go from 3,500, keep me honest here, Peter, 3,500 system IDs, completely greenfield, to 4 S4 instances with 0 custom code. Everything will be in BTP. Everything. Now, they're in Texas, so it's very easy. They put a very clear directive out there. touch the system and we'll take you out back and shoot you, which is allowed in Texas, but probably not here. But those are some of the brave movements you see out there. Now, I hope everybody's seen this slide. This slide has evolved over the past years. It used to be a hamburger, that's what we called it, and now it's a sunrise. It seems a little bit more positive. But what is critical about this slide is that what we deliver now is a complete ecosystem. Instead of selling point products and a tool suite here and a little bit there, I would actually argue, for the first time at least that I've seen, it makes perfect, integrated, holistic value sense. And it's split into 3 parts: apps, data, AI. Let me start with the apps. Many moons ago, before I was at SAP, SAP had ERP, which was our flagship products, then we bought SuccessFactors, we bought Concur, we bought Ariba, and they were all serving an individual small part of the end-to-end processes that you all operate on. They weren't connected. The data didn't talk to each other, the master data, they operated differently, trust me. And in 2020, we finally started integrating all of that into one master data model, one integration environment, and even at the technological operating level, they were finally operating together. As we moved upwards, what is very important to realize is that AI, as a result, has replaced user interface. So no longer, and this is my strong advice to everybody, should you go onto the market and do an RFP on a human capital module. And then you get SuccessFactors, you get Workday, you get some other products, and you start analyzing buttons and functions and features of the individual product. That is a dead model. You have key processes: hire to retire, design to operate, opportunity to cash. And you should look at the process. Because why would you care about the button placement in a certain application that is there, or this specific feature, if you cannot ask a simple question as, give me my revenue per headcount evolution over the last 6 years? Because you've got your finance system in ERP, and you got your HR system in Workday, and you're trying to pull all of that together in some way. If you implement our business suite and AI end-to-end, you can ask the most ridiculous questions to Joule. And I've come up with one. Give me the 10 salespeople with the lowest quota attainment and the highest travel expenses over my least profitable products in the past year. Now, you don't want to be one of those 10 salespeople, and I have no idea why you would ever ask that question, but if you've got everything integrated, that is the level of detail you can get out of your data. And not only your own data. With the Business Data Cloud, you can also integrate non-SAP data. And why is this so important? Because, well, I know BMW does, you create data lakes. And you copy all of your data over, and then you start trying to make sense of it and get analytics and insight out of it. But you lose context. A customer number or an order number in your SAP system is meaningless the moment you create it, dump it in your data lake, and unless you start creating from scratch your own semantical layer again, which then basically starts duplicating all of your data. And apart from the insane cost associated with it, the effort is also incredible. That's why we created in the middle the data and the Business Data Cloud. You can import non-SAP data, and you can keep making sense of all of your SAP data, including all of your BWs, and have that semantical information drive insights. Because data is great, but data without analytics and insights is pointless. It's just a collection of ones and zeros. As I explained to my son this week, who's starting computer sciences and had never done a binary operation in his life. And then, of course, it's AI. Now, AI is many things, and everybody knows it, what I call the beads and mirrors of ChatGPT. But AI goes much deeper. AI is trying to optimize your days sales outstanding by having a full analysis of every invoice dispute against contract, and having AI realize that in paragraph 6, Alinea 4 subsection 2, the customer gets 0.1% extra discount if they hit 150K in a month, and somebody forgot to put that in the invoice. AI can do that in 5 minutes, and some poor soul sits there digging through contracts, takes 12 hours to figure that out. If you can do that across thousands of invoices that are disputed, you can reduce your day sales outstanding by 3 days. Microsoft calculated that will save them optimize their cash flow by 20 to 25 billion a year. Now, not everybody is as big as Microsoft, but that's the level that AI can do. AI can help you forecasting. Do I have enough people on board to drive my revenue forecast? And what percentage do I want to split between own workforce and flexible workforce? And then let Fieldglass and SuccessFactors sort it out with regards to hires, job descriptions, locations, and contractors in Fieldglass that you need. Sorry, I get to the point where I ignore my slides and just start telling my story. So applications matter. And applications, how they work together, matters. And please take this away as one key point. AI is the new UI. And the more you can pull together in one AI model, the more value you get. Because otherwise, and this is the other point, you can create your own foundational models if you have 7 different applications. But the foundational model will only be as good as the data you own and put in. The foundational models on which the AI of SAP is built is based on the anonymized data of 22,000 customers. So the granularity, the quality, the insight is even better. You can create your own flywheel effect, but it's supported by the SAP flywheel effect across tens of thousands of customers. What is very important about the Business Data Cloud is where partners come in as well, is that we have insight apps, as we call them, displayed in SAP Analytics Cloud, but it's also a marketplace and a store where partners, technology partners, can create and deploy insight apps that we haven't thought of. Ultimately, we develop the engine. Partners will help develop those insight apps. And Joule is across everything. And Joule is a natural language query. Soon this year, I don't know the exact date when we will release it, you will even be able to talk to Joule to create SAP Analytics Cloud's insights. SAC is incredibly powerful, but it does require some level of coding. This year we're going to release Joule for SAC, and you're able to simply say, create this report for me. It will, with this insight, this track record, these months, these dates, etc. That will also get rid of Z code and custom reporting that you do. Just think of the power in the hands, and for those of you working for those executives, I'm sorry. The executives will now ask endless questions. But the good thing is you won't have to create endless reports anymore, because whatever report they come up with in the shower that they want to see, they can create themselves by simply talking to Joule. And because your insight is now real time, you can truly act on it. And with agentic AI, you can even have the system react to it. And here you see the beautiful slide, etc. You can predict demand. You can have finance trigger something on the hiring side. But with every step of the way, we've allowed for humans to still make the final decision. Because this comes down to trust. And the more you trust the system, the more you can reduce those checkpoints with regards to actions taken. Now, one thing I have to say, I have never met a customer in the last years that does not buy into this vision. But by the same token, many customers I meet are like deer caught in the headlight of an on-storming truck. Usually goes splat. Because it's hard. It is very hard to match what you have today, highly customized, in many cases still ECC systems with old-fashioned NetWeaver Windows 3.11 GUIs, with how we operate on the phones, purchase orders approval, getting insight, getting my report done, AI, Business Data Cloud, insights, agentic AI. So we have methodologies and a framework. Let me start with what I feel is the most important tool we have in our arsenal, and that's Signavio. Signavio, if you let it loose on your SAP system, will tell you exactly how far you are off standard to start off with. And guess what? The average customer is only 2% off standard process. But that 2% holds you back like a mafia block of cement in the Hudson River. What? Second, more than 40% of the custom code you've created, and Signavio will tell you that, over the last X years, is dead code. It was code created by somebody who doesn't even work at your company anymore. Person might even be dead, you don't know. But that code still drags you down. Same millstone around your neck. And it will tell you where you have choke points, where things can be faster, where you have processes don't work, that are under-optimized. And once you have that insight, you know how to transform. With SAP and with your partner, preferably a validated partner of choice, to get there. And you can do brownfield, which I still feel is like moving your full trash can over when you move, bluefield, and in many cases with customers also greenfield. But I really like what Tim said here. It can only be done if the entire organization supports it. A CIO shouting we need to transform is bound to fail. A CEO shouting we need to transform without the IT organization behind it, because they're like the proverbial turkey, you need to get enthusiastic for Christmas, is not going to work either. Or that poor guy in finance doing invoice disputes and he's been logging on via his VPN for the last 20 years to the GUI interface and then going through it every day. You need to take that person along as well. Every single part of your organization needs to buy into the transformation. So simple things, build in smaller milestones that you can celebrate. Build in visuals that you can make clear. Even if it's just enabling Fiori and mobile start so somebody can do something on their phone for the first time and approve a purchase order while they're on the bus instead of having to log on. Feels like a small victory for many, many people out there already. And then we have LeanIX. That's, I think, the second best tool we have. LeanIX will allow you to transport your entire enterprise architecture into LeanIX and will tell you, and then you can create your to-be architecture and get the clear steps in place on how to get from A to B at the technology level. It will also show you which applications contribute, both SAP and non-SAP, to your processes, but you can also optimize them. And you will find out very quickly you can sunset many applications that you have, homegrown or bought. All of it is underpinned by our RISE with SAP methodology to get you there. And that methodology is continuously evolving. We have 80 KPIs, many, many quality gates, and we have clear KPIs and results from customers that show that you can have a reduced cost of transformation, a faster time to value than ever before, with lower budgets. And ultimately, once you've implemented this, it's a little bit like the S&P story at Northrop, from a one-time partner to a long-term partner. Once you've implemented this, both at the application AI and business and data level, as well as at the technology level, it becomes a continuous innovation cycle. It is faster once you get this implemented. We will help you every step of the way to get the value out of it. We will help keep your partner honest, and your partner will help keep us honest. One of the key things is that I think as SAP, we've never been more open to feedback as well. Tell us where we can do better. Please don't all send mail to Christian, because that just creates an insane amount of work for me. Just send me the email, that'd be a lot quicker and faster. It's maybe one of the cool parts of the culture of SAP that we could do slightly better at. And clean core. Business Suite, and AI are not buzzwords. We have endless examples of where it's working. It's actually funny, back left we have Sakai-san, until recently the GM of Hitachi High-Tech. By the way, I'll plug him, now available for consulting work. But he is one of the earliest and best examples we had of leveraging everything that SAP has to offer. They had over 12,000 customizations and brought it down to 0 and 520 BTP apps. They went to a fully clean core, and whenever we released a new S4 version, I knew Sakai-san would have implemented the next one within a month of the release. They also have a hybrid. They use S4 Rise on-prem version combined with S4 Public for the sales and distribution centers around the world. So if you want a perfect example of everything of value, what we offer in our methodology, in our approach, in our North Star, please grab Sakai-san at the back. Sorry for pumping this on you. But also one of our largest customers in the world, Nestlé, and probably the first mega customer we welcomed many, many years ago. We moved 1,248 ancient ECC systems over to Rise. We've now moved all of those over to S4, and then now they're embarking on their clean core journey. Chris Wright, is anybody from Nestlé here? Chris will tell you that they've calculated that 2.7 times an upgrade project will get them to a clean core, and they never have to do an upgrade program of monstrous size ever again. Those are ROIs that matter. But also on the S4 Public slide, we have Bright House, Financial, and A-Homes that have truly captured value at insane speeds. Bright House does 240 billion in assets managed through S4 Public today. And again, we don't do it alone. We do it with partners. Because poor Thomas only has about 12,000 people, and then we have Anya with 3,000 in PE. We cannot compete with the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of SAP experts with our partners. Now, my personal assistance is I will always get a flywheel effect there as well. Maybe hire one SAP services people for every 50 to 60 people you hire from the partner, because that will also give you the shortest line into SAP support. Just like Rise will give you the shortest line there as well. And with that, I hope you have an amazing SAP transformation world. It was truly an honor and a pleasure to share some of the background here with you, and maybe till next year, Jens.